It's not the Gen Z stare. It's not your cashier not coming up and talking to you. It's the fact that we're losing community. That is what is causing the decline of civilization as a whole. And that is my statement. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of My Thoughts. Hey everyone, welcome back to an episode. I know it's been literally a month since I've seen all of you. Where did I go? I needed some time off. I was really just have been a little bit stressed. The brain has not been functioning to its highest capacity. Needed some time off. So I'm back finally. Yay. Would love to share an update video of my life soon, but not today. Today we have to have a important conversation. And that is going to be community. We're losing it. I actually think that this is the number one thing that will lead to the downfall of America as a whole if we don't get it the fuck together and learn how to work with each other. It doesn't matter if someone has a different belief than you. It doesn't matter if someone has a different opinion than you. I understand that opinions can be harmful, rhetoric can be harmful, and have negative consequence to those opinions or words being used. But if we can, push our pride to the side, both sides, I'm not just talking about one or the other, but I want to have a discussion about this. And new journal, check it out. I love it. New journal, I am noting it up for this video. I really took some notes, went over it with the boyfriend, and I said, listen to my argument, tell me if I have any blind spots. And here's what I have to say today. Number one, hyper-individualism is ruining community. Straight up. I think that hyper-individualism and the reason that we have become so independent and non-reliant on other people has to do with a number of factors. But the biggest factor, obviously, and maybe some of you guys can guess it, capitalism. Capitalism has really made us into these creatures who have to rely on branding ourselves. We have to rely on what value do I give to the world. This is something that, especially with social media, I have heard so many countless times saying, what value do you add to someone's life? Why would someone want to follow you? What value are you adding? Why do I have to add value? Why can't I just be funny? Why can't I just be a good person to listen to or hear from or get advice from, whatever it may be? Why can't you just follow along my journey? Why do I have to be the one to add value? And I realized that it's not about necessarily adding value, but it's about branding yourself, branding your identity, branding your personality, making yourself profitable. We have turned, I want to be this into I want to be rich. I want to have money. I want to live a free life because I have money. We have I just realized ketchup is in the frame. Sorry. We have turned ourselves into this idea that money is everything. My relationships don't matter as much as money. And this also kind of leads me into kind of why I started my channel as well. And I fully admit that I may be taking part in a little bit of this downfall of community because I preached for a long time, especially on this channel, about how important it is being alone. I do think that being comfortable with yourself is one of the most important things to exist on this planet, straight up, being able to be with yourself alone and not be what the fuck am I gonna do? I hate being alone. I don't like being alone. I think that being alone, top 10, one of the best things, one of the best feelings, being comfortable with being alone can do. Best feelings out there. But we have created this world of philosophy. We have created this world of stoicism, of just self-help, and especially catered it towards men. And we don't have good male role models. I'm gonna say this, with the whole male loneliness epidemic, my boyfriend and I got into a very long talk about this the other night, actually, about how it is a male loneliness epidemic. And I'm gonna say that because oftentimes men don't have a choice of being single, women do. And men don't have good role models and women do. Not all the best role models, don't get me wrong, but I think women can grasp community through friendships, can grasp love through friendships a lot stronger than men can. And when they don't see this idea of, well, if no one's gonna love me, fuck it, I'll just get rich. I'll push everyone to the side and get rich. I'll focus on myself. This constant like drive to focus on yourself. I think that can really lead into this downward spiral of loneliness, not being able to rely on anyone. And this kind of brings me back into the capitalism point of like, we thrive on competition in this country. We thrive on being competitive with one another, being competitive in the market. We thrive on the American dream and that no one is coming to save you. The amount of times that this week that I've heard no one is coming to save you on TikTok, on Instagram is mind-boggling. Yes, there are people coming to save you. There are people that can help you. Did you know that? You can rely on other people when you are at your worst. I know, maybe that is just like not a good thought to have, and like maybe I'm being too reliant on other people, but I really do think that asking for help is not a weakness. Like being someone that relies on your community and your neighbor and your friends and your family, that is not a bad thing. That is what people exist on this planet to do. They don't exist to make money. The first humans, we were not put here in Jesus's name. If you want to go back to Christianity, if you want to go back to any form of religion, we were not put on this earth to just make money and then die. We were made to make meaningful connection. We're made to get closer to ourselves, to get closer to your partner, to get closer to your family. That is the point of existence on this earth. And we can debate that later in a different video of like, what is our purpose here? Why are we here? But at the end of the day, we're here to make connection. We're here to be present. We're here to be with other people and enjoy our community and enjoy your life, not work yourself to death. That's a huge part of it. And like the digital age also, another thing I wanted to touch on is like, people are so hyper focused on what they're wearing, how they act in public. And this kind of leads me down another pipeline of therapy speech, which I'm going to put a pin in and we'll come back to that in a minute. But we feel more connected to those online. We feel more connected to validation through likes. We feel more connected to validation through like being on trend, making sure we're wearing the right things, yada, 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 yada. And the list goes on. We feel more connected to our friends on the internet. We feel more connected to dating through the internet rather than in person. We're more okay with going up to someone, sliding into someone's DMs than we do going up to someone in person. Like there are so many aspects of our connection feeling not as forced, not as like scary through the internet and through your phone, which I understand. But at the end of the day, it is destroying us. It is destroying our ability to talk to one another. It's destroying our ability to like make meaningful relationships because of Instagram. Like that's another thing too, the whole cheating stuff through Instagram, like liking other people's pictures, like following weird people, the rise of OnlyFans, like having access to pornography that easily rather than having to go somewhere to fully get it or have it being in a magazine, something that's tangible and like visible and is moving and breathing on your screen. It's just, we have changed our reality to be on the internet. We have altered our reality to be digital rather than in real life. And we think community exists more in our phones than it does in real life, when fundamentally that is not true. And that is not what is going to progress us further as humans. Now, I want to talk about some of the things that have been a kind of like symptom of us not having strong community and kind of a symptom of hyper-individualism and therapy speak. Let's remove it really quick and talk about therapy speak and the issue with therapy speak. My sister also was like, you really need to talk about this because it is an issue. I 100% agree. We have weaponized our healing process. We have weaponized like being able to express ourselves well and have people understand us more. We've been able to articulate our feelings and put a label. Like, I think that our generation, like, straight up, we are really obsessed with labels. We're obsessed with labels, but also not obsessed with labels at the same time. It's very strange to me and a bizarre phenomenon I will really never get over. But this idea of like us being kind of having so much access to information and access to learning about things, but it's misinformation. It's not always correct information. So we have kind of like construed meanings to a lot of therapy speak words. Like, people don't often use gaslighting the correct way. People like weaponize therapy speak in our everyday language, and I think a lot of people weaponize it in like, I need space, I can't hold space for this right now, as an excuse to knock it out of their comfort zone. Because I'm not saying, and like this is a big part that I want to emphasize, and I'll emphasize heavier in later in the video, but like, my solution to this is not going backwards. It is to make changes to progress humans further and make it life easier for us, not harder for us, not segregating people, not like going back to the 1950s when the nuclear family was in full effect, like not stuff like that. I will talk about this further down the line, but like, we need each other to exist here. We need each other to be able to live. And if we constantly don't want to do something and we're always using the word, no, I need to hold space for myself, no, I just like don't have the energy for that right now. Like, I understand being exhausted from work and stuff like that, but like sometimes you do owe your friends time. Sometimes you gotta suck it up. You owe your family time. And I do think that being able to cut off relationships can be really healthy in a certain capacity, but is that being your immediate response to someone not agreeing with you, that being your immediate response to conflict as a whole, and removing yourself from the situation and just never talking about it, just being like, they didn't understand me, I need to hold space for myself, like doing that whole shebang doesn't help anyone, and it isolates people further, and it makes other people scared of relationships even more. So that's kind of my take on therapy speak. Thank God that pin is out. But one thing that like really made me want to make this video is this Gen Z stare thing, and this idea that like, I made a video recently talking about going to Core Power, and because if I'm going to Core Power, let's go. It's been really fun, it's been really awesome, but I don't like the women there. The women, this is a genre of white women I've never been around, and I was talking about how like the women there were not very nice to me. I had a gulp. I was shocked. I was in awe. I said, what the fuck? Like, I felt incorrect for being there, because I'm not like a skinny mini itty bitty girl, but I'm not like obese or overweight or anything like that. But I am like a size 8, and I'm like, these girls are size like 2 to 0. Like, they're tiny, tiny women. And they just don't, if you don't fit that archetype of white woman, you are just like weird. And I was just saying, it wasn't a very welcoming community. It wasn't really friendly, like that sort of thing. And people, the biggest rebuttal in my comment section was, well, what do they owe you? Like, they don't owe being nice to you. No one owes being nice to you. When you're entering a community space where you are being part of a community, and especially with fitness, I have no tolerance for this when people try to act like fitness is an individualistic thing. It is not. It is built on community. Fitness has always been built on community. I will not budge on that, and you will not change my mind on that. So you walking into a space being like, this is my space, what the fuck are you doing here? You don't belong here. You do owe me kindness. You do owe me not to be disrespected. You don't have to say hi to me. I don't give a fuck if you say hi to me. But that's all, like literally all. You do not need to be doing more than that. But making the space feel welcome and not judgmental, is like a really big part, in my opinion, of fitness that is really important to people getting fitter, people like losing weight, people like wanting to better their lives. That's really, really, really important. And if we kind of like push people away from that, scary. So that like really made me think of this. And then this conversation with like the Gen Z stare thing, like we are burnt out as a society. Like Gen Z has not had, unless you're like went to high school before COVID, honestly, you have not had a good example of what community is. So like these boomers and Gen Xers on the internet saying like, these people like fuck the generation below me, whatever. We're burnt out. We haven't had good examples of community. We have not provided good examples of community for the younger generations because we have like adopted, and millennials, I'm kind of blaming millennials. Like I think that being able to unpack a lot of past unhealed trauma is really, like I am on board with healing. Like don't get me the fuck wrong. But healing, I made a video about this earlier. Healing should not be isolating. Healing should not be lonely. It is about making better connections, working through your issues with other people. And it doesn't necessarily need to be out loud, but being able to be around people while you're working these things out are really important, with a little alone time on the side. That's all. It's not like I need to isolate myself for 6 months, not talk to anyone for 6 months because I got to deal with this. No, that's not what it's about. That's not the point of healing. It's supposed to be like, let me hold your hand and I want to be here for you and I want to help you get through this. Not because I don't think you can't do it alone, but because you shouldn't have to do it alone. And boomers, I think, lack the understanding of what living in today's society is like. They just see people having phones, people like escapism, like all this stuff through TikTok and purchasing all these things, but like y'all set this system up and you're mad about it. That doesn't really make sense. So like this idea of people don't really owe you anything, I agree with to a certain degree. With jobs are tiring, burnout, have a little bit of compassion for the people in the drive-thru. Like you don't gotta be bitchy if they're not in the best mood. Maybe this is the second job that they're working today. People are working for unhumane and unlivable wages. Like you can't blame them. But also, tip, like it sucks too. Like, this is another thing I didn't even write about, because this is something that the floods in Texas really made me think of like the floods in Texas. P. Terry's here did, which is a burger stand if you don't live in Texas. P. Terry's did a, we're gonna donate all the money on this day to the floods in Texas. But like, we built a government that is supposed to help with relief. Why are we being the ones that have to like support this? Like that really threw me for a loop. And I know that's controversial because like I do think that helping your community out, yeah, I'm all about doing that. But like we're the ones that have to fund everything. Like everywhere you will see donation to the flood. And you kind of almost feel guilty if you can't do that. I'm like, I got groceries to buy. I'm sorry. Like that's all I can do. Like the government is making so much money. Why don't we, like, I pay taxes for a reason. Why are my taxes going towards this? So this idea that like, I forget where I was going with this, like that people have to be the one to tip your workers to be able to make sure they're making a livable wage. I understand being mad about that. I get it 100%. But also at the same time, if we want that to change, we all have to collectively be in that, like, together. Like we have to push for policy change. We have to push for a higher minimum wage, like all this stuff. I also want to talk about liberalism. I am on the left side of politics, 100%. Okay, I just got a call, so I want to make sure that this is still working. But basically, I want to talk about liberalism. I definitely am on the left side of the political spectrum for sure. But one thing I definitely see the downfall of, and I want to make a whole video about this actually with liberalism, is this idea of like not being tolerant of other views because I understand other views lead to morals. I get that. Being a MAGA Republican, I get it. Icky. ooh, why did you vote for that man? And also like, that is showing your true colors of who you are. But someone just like simply not agreeing with like, hey, I don't really understand the purpose of someone that's non-binary. And instead of being like, well, let me explain it to you, because all you really have to do is like be not accepting, but like be respectful of these people. That's all you have to do. You just have to be like being able to be respectful of these people. But instead it's like, well, fuck you then. Like, you just suck. Like, it's this overcorrecting of people who don't have the same views as you. And one thing that I also really do think is that, and I've personally seen in my own life a lot with like, especially going to protests, is like when people don't agree with you, instead of trying to educate people, and I also see it online a lot, instead of trying to educate people in a actual discussion, it turns into a gotcha moment. It turns into it, well, you're fucking stupid. That's why you can't see my point of view, is because you're literally dumb. You're stupid. It's just constant like, you're stupid, I'm not, I have the right answers, you don't, and there's nothing I can learn from you because you don't agree with me on this one issue. No, that's not really how it works. I think you can still take value from other people's opinions, even if they have kind of shitty political opinions. But the thing is we're not going to make progress, we're not going to make change if we keep yelling at each other. That's never going to work. We really do have to have like actual discussion. And this leads me into a whole nother conversation with the Jubilee video that came out, which I won't get too into, because Jubilee, I think, is a government psyop and actually needs to be off the internet immediately. But I did a lot of research into the founders and the investors of Jubilee. That's not going to happen, just letting y'all know. That channel will never be off the internet. The investors are so deeply webbed up into the government also, so too much. I went on a like 2.5 hour deep dive into the investors of Jubilee yesterday. Too much. Anyways, I want to talk about kind of like how to fix this and what steps can we take individually and what things can we work towards for change in this. Number one, and I think is the biggest, most important thing, is having more free spaces. I know this is going to require someone to like have a place that's like just free open, but we need more safe free spaces. We don't have free third spaces. We need third spaces. Did I say that correctly? Not free spaces, third spaces. We need more places where people can go and hang out with their friends, or cheap third spaces. Coffee shops, I get coffee's expensive. I get it. But at the same time, not that expensive. I've worked at so many coffee shops to know that it's not that expensive. Like in a matcha thing, like those matcha packet things, I get you have to make profit. But it's like $15, $15 to $20 for a nice ceremonial matcha that has like 30 to 50 servings in it. You don't, and you're barely using a serving for an actual matcha. Let's be fucking for real. You're not doing that. You don't need to be spending that much, like charging that much. So it's just, things got more expensive. I get that, but we are just like putting it on the consumer instead of asking for assistance. And we need to ask for help. Ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. So more free third spaces. We need to be working towards policy change collectively. We need free healthcare. I don't understand why this is even a debate for some people. Like, I really, really don't get it. Why don't you want free healthcare? That's my question. The government has enough money. They have enough money. Did y'all see that big, beautiful bill? Y'all saw how much money they're putting towards ICE. We have enough money, trust me. Secondly, we need more like public child care that's like less expensive, less privatized child care, better education, like safer education. We need safer things for our kids that can grow up without technology. I think technology is a really big factor of it too. We need to normalize community living, being able to talk to your neighbor, being able to I love using this example, instead of going to the store and buying a whole bag of sugar, being able to ask your neighbor for the allotted amount of sugar you need for your recipe. It's okay to ask. It's okay to like step out of your comfort zone and ask someone for help if you need it. Being more oriented within your community. And also one thing I think, like with Gen Z especially, one thing that we can do better within our communities is offer free services to your friends. I have always tried to do this, especially with my fitness, because I can't always like bring people into the gym for free. But when I was a coach, like, I have to wrap this up. My phone storage is getting full. Also, next video will be on my camera, but my batteries were dead, so we gotta charge them. Anyways, I forgot where I was, but community living, being more comfortable with your community, and trading services, like being able to just be like, I'll give you a haircut if you do this for me. Easy. Then changing our mindset from self-made to community-made. You are nothing without your community, and I fully believe that. Like, you are who you grew up with. You are the reason you are because of the people that were around you when you were growing up in this world. Like, community is so important, and you did not make it on your own because you just like picked yourself up by your bootstraps and only did it by yourself and no one else ever helped you. No, we're who we are because of our communities. It's falling. There we go. Next, grind set. Get rid of it. We're here for a meaningful life. We are not here to make money. That's not the purpose of living on this earth. Yeah, money helps. Money helps a lot. That doesn't mean don't make money, but don't make money your priority. Next, slowing down. Remember birthdays. Remember people's names. Make an effort to include your friends. Talk to your friends. Call your friends. Make an effort to be in people's lives. That is so important and something that I think we often overlook. Make an effort. It's not that hard. Remember the people who are important to you and remember the things that are important to them so you can have better connections with them. It's easy. It is easy. I definitely think that we can make a change collectively as Gen Z. Like, I really do think we have opportunity to make such an impactful change and an awesome change at that. But we have to want it. We have to work for it. And we need to push for better policy in order to do these things, which sucks. But we can start at an individual level by the things I just said, like remembering your friends' birthdays, remembering important dates for them, cooking your friends' meals, prioritizing like community meals. I remember when I lived in Hollywood, we would do Sunday dinner. We did it for like probably 7 or 8 months. And we would invite like people off the street into our house because they're not scary. We made a lot of friends that way. We invited so many people to our house for Sunday dinner. It usually was some shady little dinner, but it was good. It was family. It was community. It was awesome. So that's kind of all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed my first video back. I missed you all so much. Catch you in the next one. Bye.